Hey YouTube, today I wanted to talk about foreshortening. I was working on a drawing of a cat walking through some grass and I realized I was having a little bit of difficulty because the cat is foreshortened a little bit, as you can see here. So I figured why not make a video of it and help you guys out. So in this video I'll be talking about what is foreshortening and some techniques on how to handle it. So yeah, let's get right into it. What is foreshortening exactly? Foreshortening is when you have a object that looks smaller, bigger, or deformed due to the viewer's perspective, right? So what that means is, you can have a cylinder that looks upright and that looks perfectly fine. Like the top and the bottom of the cylinder looks the same, right? But, if something is foreshortened, right, then one side is kind of going to the vanishing point a lot faster and it's a lot bigger. It's a lot smaller than the top side, right? So you can see here, I've drawn like multiple cylinders already. And as you get to the vanishing point, the cylinder gets rapidly smaller and smaller. And that's essentially foreshortening in a nutshell. The face that's farther away from us, that is smaller, and the top side of the cylinder is obviously larger, right? Now, you can practice this many times. You just, what you want to do is draw multiple circles on a page of different sizes, and then you want to connect them. So that way you understand foreshortening in a way. And this applies to pretty much any shape, right? You want to focus on the endpoints and the starting points. The starting points should be, larger and therefore closer to you, right? You see me here drawing like the forearm, right? The shoulder, the forearm, and the hand, right? All foreshortened. And really you want to think of it like that. You want to focus on which part of the object is farther away versus which one's closer. So another tip when it comes to foreshortening is limb visibility. When, let's say, the arm is foreshortened, right? And that's very close to you, right? In a 3D space, you're not going to see everything regarding the arm. You can see the length of the arm, and we're so used to the arm being a certain length, but when it comes to foreshortening, you're not going to see the entire forearm, the length of the forearm, the length of the bicep, right? Or the length of the shoulder. Here's another page, right? When it comes to foreshortening, very simple thing to do is break it down into simple shapes, right? Break it down into cylinders, rectangles. If you can break it down to simple shapes, then it really helps you to understand, how the object is in perspective. So a really good technique is the coil technique when it comes to foreshortening. You obviously want to use this with pencil because all you really need to do is draw coils as as you create the shape of the cylinder, and this really helps out with foreshortening. The only downside to the coil technique is that as great as it is to teach you foreshortening, when you're creating drawings of the human body or any kind of like, any anatomically complicated figure, the issue is like you need that visualization of the anatomy to really get that straight. You can't just have coils all over the place because that's really gonna get in the way of your understanding of the anatomy of whatever it is you're drawing, right? So the last bit of advice that I would give you guys is to think in 3D space. Making sure that you're able to think of the anatomy in perspective is really the whole gist of foreshortening. Understanding that there's a little bit of overlap and, breaking it down into simple shapes and using the coil technique, that's really going to be helpful here. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys found it helpful. Let me know in the comments, and if you guys have any ideas for future videos, let me know. Thank you guys for watching.